Remember the Yamaha Passola from last episode? This is its engine. If this is that engine, what's that down there? Stay tuned to check it out. Alrighty, so last episode I showed you guys this here 1981 Yamaha Passola scooter. Now this bike possibly has not run in decades, but we worked out it's got low compression, it has inconsistent spark, and it's probably haunted. It does the weirdest things. We did get it to run. It ran forwards, but it also kind of ran backwards. If you hadn't seen that video, click up here to catch up. This episode, we're going to move on with this build. My original intention with this Yamaha Passola was to clean it up, replace the missing panels, get it running, and move it on. To be fair, it's not really my thing, although I do concede it does have potential. So since last episode's massive failure and all my grand plans have now gone to shit, I figure, why don't we do something fun with this bike? Why don't we do something a little bit silly with it? And by silly, I mean this. This is a horizontal 50cc Minarelli motor from a Yamaha Jog 3KJ. Now this motor too is shit. It's even more shit than this motor. This motor is broken, but this motor has potential. So let's pull it apart and find out what's wrong with it.
This jog motor came off a bike that was involved in one of those 1 in 100 year floods that we seem to get every other year here in Australia. Now considering this, it's very likely that everything within the cases is going to be destroyed and rusted. Let's find out just how bad it actually is.
Far out. In my head, I kind of was hoping there's a gasket, maybe it'd be watertight, no water would get in there. But I was kind of expecting the worst, to be honest, and yeah, wow. Let's pull the variator, the clutch, all that off it. Let's keep inspecting. Hopefully the gearbox is good, hopefully, but I'd say all that shaft on the outside, it's probably rat shit as well. So let's keep going.
Yes, that engine is stuffed. It is destroyed, but the cases can be salvaged and reused. My intention was to always rebuild this engine, so put a comment down below, what would you like to see me build this engine into?
Ugh, that's not good. All right, in Australia, we have a word, it's munted. And what it means is shit. Everything in there is shit. It all needs to be replaced. I think we can save these gears though, and the cover, I think that might be retrievable, but everything else is munted. We're gonna flip it over, we're gonna go to the other side, pull out the flywheel, pull out that kind of stuff, and I betcha that is just as munted too. That was putrid, everything was disgusting, and pretty much everything has to be replaced, but we kind of guessed that, didn't we? Crankshaft, piston, cylinder head, all that is still in there, but I need that there to mock it up for the bike. So I'm going to go put all this back together so we have a full size motor, and then we're going to go measure this guy. All right, we are pretty much ready to mock up this jog motor, but there are a few things to consider. This motor here is a vertical motor and the jog motor is a horizontal motor. Now, even if they were both horizontal, it still wouldn't work because engine mounts are wider, frames are narrower. There's a lot going on that's going to mean that motor there will not bolt into this frame here. So before we start ripping this motor out, we need to align everything. And by align, I need to make sure that the bike is absolutely straight. The front wheel lines up perfectly with the rear wheel. I need to find a perfect center line. So to do that, I've got some 2-inch tape that I'm going to mark out on the table. I'm going to draw a laser down there. I'm going to line the laser up with the front wheel and the back wheel until they are perfect. Then I'm going to mark it out on the tape, and the tape will never move off the table. Then we have to build a jig to hold it all in place. All right, so we have the engine out. That wasn't too difficult, and we're ready to put the horizontal Minarelli in from the 3KJ jog. Now, I'm glad I took the time to find that center line as from rear wheel to front wheel. We can move the frame left and right, that's no problem. The frame can move as long as the front wheel never moves, which it can't because it's in the clamp. We are golden. The height is set by the jack. I haven't adjusted that. That is absolutely set. So now all we have to do is line this up with that and get it in the right spot. And to do that, I have built myself a tool. I present the Scooter Bomb rear engine wheel alignment thingamy jig. This will fit over the rear wheel perfectly. All I have to do is line this up with the lines on here. Then we drop it all in place and everything can't move. Then we line the frame up to find center line with the floor and we are good. Alrighty, so we are all lined up. Engine is exactly where I want. I believe the frame is centered, the engine centered to the frame, everything is centered to the table. Let's have a look what I've done. I've used a laser level, and here we can see right down the center of the tire, we have a little laser mark. Now through here, I've put the center point on the mud flap, and then up here on the mud flap, there is a factory center point. Strangely, the tail light is not centered, but we cross over the tail light bolts. And then up the front, we've got this bolt here, which we've got the laser running through as well. Now that I'm pretty happy with where everything sits, I'm just going to start bolting things back on, just so I can get an idea of exactly how it looks, because in the frame it can look awesome, but with the bodywork on, it could look like dick. So we're going to bolt these on, have a good look, and we're going to see exactly how she looks like. It is very close here. We've got about 20-25 mil of clearance, so that is absolutely perfect. All right, guys, that is it. What do we think? Look at this bike. It looks sensational, and that motor looks like it's meant to be in there. My greatest fear in this was that it would look like the motor was put into the bike and it didn't belong in there. And I think the way I've got it all set out, it all looks the way it should be. My greatest challenge now is how do I lock that motor into the frame? Sure, it's welding, sheet steel, that kind of stuff, but that's where my thought process is. What I'd like you guys to think about is a theme, a color, that kind of thing for the bike. Should we keep it 100% stock? Should we do something a little bit crazy for it? I like the idea of doing like a theme bike. I like the idea of doing something like Castrol, Shell, something like that. Hey, what about Stage 6? Polini, that kind of thing. In fact, if you're stage 6, if you're Polini, get on board, sponsor the video, sponsor the channel, and I will deck this bike out as per your brand. But you guys give me some ideas. What would you like to do? That's where I wanted to be on this video. I wanted it all mocked up. I wanted it all set in place. If you guys want to see updates on this, make sure you subscribe, you like, and you leave me a comment. And I will see you the next time we're building this. For me, I need to go get some sheet steel and then some cardboard and template it all out. See you on the next one.